Good evening. My name is Tracy Craig, and I will be moderating tonight's meeting. This is Alameda County Environmental Health Department's community meeting to discuss restarting the soil vapor extraction system for the Red Hanger Cleaners site on College Avenue in Oakland. We have a short presentation followed by questions and answers. We're very interested in hearing from the community about this project. I'm going to go through just a couple housekeeping things and the agenda, and then we'll get going. Next slide, John. Thank you. Okay, so this is a webinar. That means that meeting attendees do not have audio or visual feed, but we are happy to promote our attendees or if you'd like to talk. So I think we can go ahead and do that, John, just promote everybody. That way we can see your faces and we can have a more interactive meeting, which is what we're really after here. We want to make sure that you know exactly what's going on. I'm going to start the meeting with introductions. Again, I'm Tracy Craig, moderating tonight's meeting. With me is John Permani. He's doing all the important stuff to get this meeting up on the screen and going. We'll go through introductions of the team we have here, provide an overview of the site, talk about what happened to get us here, restarting the system, how we'll be responding to noise concerns in a timely fashion, and then discussing the schedule. And most importantly, there'll be time at the end for questions and answers. And if you want to ask a question in real time, please just raise your physical hand because now I can see you, or raise your virtual hand, and we're happy to stop and answer those questions. Okay, next slide, John. This meeting was announced via a fact sheet that was mailed, and it looks like we have quite a few attendees, at least 10, so I think that worked. If you'd like to be added to an email list to get updates about the project, please put your email in the question and answer box. John, that's active tonight, right? And we'll be glad to add you to that. Okay. So with me tonight is Dylan Rowe. Dylan's a professional engineer, and she's also the Chief of Land and Water Protection Division for the Alameda County Environmental Health Department. I think she's actually met with a few people before on this site. And also with Dylan is Paresh. Paresh is a program manager with Alameda County as well. And then we don't have anybody from the City of Oakland, but the City of Oakland is involved in just enforcing the noise ordinance that we have to adhere to. The Bay Area Air Quality Management, we do not have an attendee from that regulatory agency as well, but the soil vapor extraction system needs to operate under an air district permit. And then I'd also like to introduce the responsible parties. So we have three of the responsible parties for the property: Claremont College Venture, and then the Buzos Trust, and I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Surlia. Anyway, you guys can read it, Gordon Trust. And then their consultant is Rue and Associates. So that's the environmental consultant that is actually designing the system, and then will be operating it as well, and then hopefully doing long-term operation and maintenance. With me tonight is Michael Martson. His camera is not working, but Sydney Ward is also here. Sydney, if you'll raise your hand. Great. And then last, we've already introduced me, Tracy, and John. We work together. Okay, so I think everybody here knows where the site is. It's on College Avenue, and this actually shows where the entirety of the soil vapor extraction system is working. Just a point in an urban area, so there is a lot of what we deem background noise. So it's going to be difficult to tease out what noise is coming from the system versus what's coming from just regular day-to-day traffic and all the goings-on in an urban area. So we'll need to be working with the community closely as we move forward. Okay, site overview. Dry cleaner operated on the site from about 1949 to the mid 2015-16. As was common in the day, operations contaminated soil with volatile organic compounds. Those are usually the solvents that were used for dry cleaning. There weren't a lot of environmental regulations in place in the 49, 50, 60. So a lot of times that solvents were just dumped or thrown down the drain. That was perfectly legal at the time. And we're going back and looking at this with a new lens with stricter environmental regulations. A soil vapor extraction system operated on site. I think most of you knew about that. It sucks up vapors from the soil, runs them through carbon, and then discharges the clean air into the atmosphere, and that's permitted by the Air District. That system was expanded, and it was noisy, and so Dylan stopped the system and shut it down in 2023 in response to community complaints about noise. And since that time, RU has been looking at ways to lessen the noise and add noise reduction measures so that we can operate that system to get those chemicals out of the soil. And then Dylan, you want to take it from here?
Sure.
Graphic? Super, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Tracy. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dylan Rowe, and I am the Chief of the Land and Water Protection Division for Alameda County Environmental Health, as Tracy said. So I'm going to just run through very briefly what this system is. I'm not going to go into technical details, but just so you have a sense of what's going on. The dry cleaner operations resulted, as Tracy said, in chemicals getting into the ground, and they are in soil and groundwater and soil vapor. And the system that has been installed is a collection of pipes that have slots on them, in them, and they all are attached to basically it's, well, like it says right here, it's kind of like a vacuum cleaner. There's a blower, and it sucks vapors out of the ground, and it puts it into this into a treatment system, which is this which is kind of the focus of this meeting, which is the noisy system where the treatment system is, and then those vapors are treated in carbon vessels before the vapors are discharged to the air. So next slide. And this picture shows where the piping is. So the piping is on 3 properties. The piping extends, the majority of it is on where the dry cleaner operated last, which is the College Claremont Avenue property down there in the left-hand corner. And there are multiple wells that you can see. Those are the pipes that go vertically down into the ground. And then there's also wells along the property line. And I know some of you on this call live in the adjacent condominiums. So there are wells along the property line. There are also 2 wells in a property that was not historically used as a dry cleaner. It's kind of at the top of the page there. And then the purple line and 1 well over on the near the cold coffee shop area. And the purple lines are horizontal pipes that I believe they're all, I think they're a combination of subsurface and above ground pipes. And then the pink square is where the treatment compound is. Next slide. So as Tracy indicated, Alameda County had approved system modifications to intended to modify the system so that it would work better. And the system started operating without Alameda County being notified that the modifications had been completed, that the system was operating. And I became aware that there had been complaints going on for about 4 months before I found out about them. And I appreciate the resident that reached out to me. So at that point in time, I ordered the system to shut down until I understood what had gone on, what the modifications were, got documentation of the modifications being completed, and then understood more about the noise issues. So since then, the group, the responsible parties and the consultants have been working with environmental health to document the system, and then submit a work plan to us that would help evaluate some of the noise, possible noise issues associated with the system operating. Kind of bottom line is there are decibel readings that the system needs to be under. And prior to while the system was operating, the noise was exceeding those readings. So it is my understanding that the decibels were 66 and the city ordinance is 60 decibels, so slightly above the city's requirements. And so there have been a lot of sound reduction improvements being made that have been made. Some of them were happening before I understood that the system was in operation. Some of them have happened since then. And they include, you can see in this picture, some foam lined paneling around components that cause the noise, the blowers and all the stuff that was sucking the VOCs out of the ground, and sound blankets around outdoor portions of the system. And so those have all been installed. And so now before the system gets up and running full time, we are requesting that there's a trial operation of the system to confirm that the noise reduction measures are effective. Next slide. And I see some comments. Do you want to talk? Should I address them now, or should I address them at the end of the presentation? Any thoughts on that?
I think if it's okay with you, I'd like you to, if it's okay with everybody, I'd like to just go through this because I think part of this will address that,
Okay.
the location and such, and then we'll make sure that it's answered. We're noting all of these. So Jace, okay. Great name. We will make sure that's answered. Okay, is that okay? Thumbs up, yes. Thumbs down, no? Yeah? Okay. All right, keep going, Dylan.
Okay, so before the system's turned on, and kind of, I think some of it's happening now, or they're getting ready to mobilize, is they're going to go out and test some pieces of the system to try to identify areas that might be contributing to the noise. So they're going to be using some temporary air compressors to evaluate potential hissing noise coming from the pipes in case there's any leaks or anything in the pipes that can be repaired. They'll repair, if they identify them, they will repair those areas, which will help reduce overall sound impact. And then once they've finished doing, testing the integrity of the piping, they will collect noise readings during daytime operations, which will be used to establish a baseline noise level. So the system will not be running, but noise readings are going to get collected. I believe that's true. Now this says during daytime operations. I may ask Sydney to chime in here. I think you guys are going to be collecting baseline noise levels before the system operates, correct?
Yeah, we'll collect readings before the system is operating to sort of establish the neighborhood baseline before the system is turned on.
Yeah.
So I just have a clarifying question here. How close are you when you're taking those readings? Like, are you right at the system? Are you 5 feet away from the system? To Jace's point, he'd like to know. So what is the distance between the system? What was it originally? And then what would it be now? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, when you're doing this trial operation, we're only doing it during the day. So it's not going to be during the night. It's not going to be running during the night when we're doing this trial right now.
Right. So we've taken measurements, right up against the system, a certain distance away, and then, along at different places along the fence, whether it's the back corner, underneath the 2 balconies for the neighboring properties, and at the gate. So we've kind of taken measurements in different places away from the treatment system itself. So when we got the notice of the noise exceedance from the city, they had listed a couple of different readings they took both at the site and then, at the property line for the neighboring property.
Okay, so various locations.
Yes.
Okay.
So before the system starts, the consultant will be taking noise readings just to see what the background level noises are in the neighborhood. It's a pretty urban area. And then once the system starts up, they will also take noise readings and then compare the two. Again, the site is in an urban area. There's a lot of traffic on College Avenue, and background noise may be above 60 decibels. So what the point of the doing the baseline, and then the system is, they may both be above 60, they may both be above the noise ordinance, I don't know. But you're looking at the differential, right? You're looking at how much louder the noise is when the system is operating. Let's see. So once the repairs have been completed, the system will be turned on after the baseline readings have been taken, and they'll be collected for 10 minutes of operation. And if the repairs are not effective at reducing the noise level at that point in time to acceptable levels or to below the baseline readings, the system will be turned off, and further modifications will be evaluated and implemented. And while that test is being done, the city planning inspector, who is in charge of enforcing the noise ordinance, will be on site to collect noise readings. I will also be on site to witness what's going on. And that all will happen. So prior to allowing full-scale operation, the system needs to be operating within the bounds of the noise ordinance. Next page.
Okay, I'm just going to stop because that was a lot, and I just want to say that I get it. It was loud and it was waking people up at night. So I'm just going to say, anybody have any questions about how we're approaching this or anything that they want to tell us during this portion? We have just a few more slides, but anything? Yeah, Ryan, you look like you wanted to say something.
Sure. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I guess I didn't really want to interrupt you, but since this kept coming up about the background noise from the urban area, I mean, I think I really wouldn't characterize this as a noisy place. There might be occasional noise when a bus drives by or something, and maybe it will spike above 60, but I'm really sure that, the typical background noise is not near the ordinance levels. It's surprisingly quiet for being off college hours. So I think this kind of constant noise is really different from city noise. So I feel like maybe something's lost a little bit in just the quantitative reading. It's more like having like a diesel truck idling in your driveway 12 hours a day. It's not like, oh, a diesel truck drove by you.
Yeah.
So but yeah, anyway.
Understood, and not minimizing that at all, Ryan. I do understand that, and I know that area, and so I think noise readings and witnessing noise readings, and you're absolutely right. A spike from a truck driving down College Avenue versus something that is a constant source of noise is going to be evaluated, and there's going to be noise readings taken for as long as it needs to happen to understand that pattern. Okay.
Okay, thanks. But yeah, I also wanted to comment that, I mean, I really recognize that you guys are doing hard work to make this as quiet as possible, and we do appreciate that. And we also appreciate that it is important that this cleanup work happens. But yeah, I mean, we have been concerned that running it 7 days a week, 12 hours a day it's quite extreme.
So I think, maybe we could go to the next. I think the next slide has the Tracy. If you, yeah.
So your hand up. So just let Dylan do this, and then we'll get to you if that's okay.
Yeah, because I want to kind of wrap around with what Ryan just said, and let me just go through these two slides because I think it'll talk about it, and I want to make sure I understand. And I said the schedule is next. The full-scale operation is expected to last 6 to 12 months, and that's to reduce the VOCs, and the system will operate under a BACMed permit. Noise levels will be monitored bi-weekly during the first 2 months and then monthly thereafter. And the consultant will also monitor and conduct routine maintenance of the system and make modifications to the system as necessary. Next page, because I think there's some information that's going to be, nope, I don't have it here. So actually,
after this schedule. Okay.
Oh yeah, the schedule. So what the work hours now are going to be, we're still going 12 hours. Oh, Monday through Sunday. I think that I take that to heart, what you were saying, Ryan, when we talked about this before. You kind of need to run an SVE system. Ideally, you run an SVE system all the time, but we're not doing that. But guys, where did we come up with 8:30 to 8:30 Monday through Sunday? So we're only having one day where the system is not running and it's running till 8:30 at night.
Wait, sorry, I thought Monday through Sunday is 7 days, or
Yeah, that's 7
Oh,
days.
it is. So,
Wait.
sorry, you are right. So, I think that is a conversation that I need to have with the consultants. And I think what I would propose we do is let's do this noise, let's do the study. Let's see what kind of noise we're getting. But I am concerned about that. I would be concerned if I lived next door and had this running 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I think that we really need to conduct this study, see what it's doing. If we're lucky, it's going to be quiet, right? And then if we're lucky, this conversation, we may have a different conversation here, but I think we really need to do that. And I'm going to put a pin in what we're going to allow the operation to be in the hours, because it really is going to depend on how noisy this system is.
Okay, noted. All right, Kurt, you're up. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Yeah, what Dylan just said, I agree with all of that, including thank you for doing this. And I really appreciate having a voice in it and seeing your faces and being able to participate in the process. And thank you, Dylan, for understanding. Yeah, I won't repeat everything that was said, but it's the sort of relentlessness of 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's the onerous part of it for me.
Yeah.
So it sounds like I don't need to say any more on that topic. So the only thing I'll add is I'm not an expert on sound attenuation, but my understanding is that foam helps, like in a restaurant or something, it helps on sound reflection. But when it comes to sound transmission, that what you need is mass. So I was hoping you'd say we're going to build a cinder block wall in front of that equipment, because I'm sure the foam will help, but I just wonder how much that will do as opposed to the way sound waves need a massive thing that they can't penetrate. So,
well, I think they're all very good points, right? And the thing that we're going to do here, and I'm not a sound expert either, but right as you were saying that, I was also thinking, I mean, there are other things you can do. You can build walls. You can even build sound walls along a property line. You could build a cinder block wall along a property line, which you probably don't want to see, but there are other things. And I think that the point here is let's see what this does, right? Let's see how this goes. This is going to be a trial run. We're not starting it up and running it for 12 hours a day till you guys complain. We're going to start it up. We're going to be out there. We're going to really see what it's doing. And if it seems to be working well, then we'll start it up, right? And we'll monitor it. And if it does not seem to be working well, then we will request that they continue to find solutions to dampen the noise.
Okay, Lauren? Hi.
You. I just have one quick question. I see that the schedule says if it's approved, it'll run, it should run no more than 6 to 12 months. Is there the possibility that you do more soil sampling after 6 to 12 months and determine it really hasn't gotten as clean as we would like it, and that
Yes.
it goes for another 6 to 12 months, recognizing that I guess this was initially installed and ran for several years. I guess trying to understand the project, how long does it normally take for the soil vapors to really get that contamination out of there? What are we really looking at here in terms of duration, true duration?
So very good question. When the system was originally put in, it was kind of oversized, quite frankly, and big blowers, and that may be a part of the issue too. But you've got pretty shallow groundwater here, right? And so in order for soil vapor extraction to be effective, your wells that are extracting, it's like you're putting a straw in the ground, right? And if you stick the straw in the groundwater, you're going to suck up water and it's going to knock your system down. And it's not going to work. If you stick the straw, in the dry soil above, it's going to work. So the modifications so what was happening for several years was the system just kept going down because it was pulling up groundwater and it was just knocking the system out constantly. So the modifications that have been done at the site were to install shallower wells so that they are not just pulling from the groundwater. And so the hopes are that this system will be much more effective at reducing the contamination. Now, that being said, there is no absolute timeline in remediation, right? You do your best guess, right? In trying to figure out where to put the wells so that you're getting good coverage and design it appropriately. And I think that there's been a lot of thought put into kind of the network of the wells so that it's reaching contamination where it is. You know, if you go back, Tracy, could you zip back really quick to that figure that showed the wells there?
John can.
Oh, okay, John, can you? They're the blue dots, and they're spread quite a bit over the site. And so the hopes are that 6 to 12 months we will see. Typically what happens is you run a system and you run it till use a technical term, but you'll understand it. You run it until you see asymptotic conditions, which means you're monitoring the vapor that's coming out. And eventually you're pulling, right? And then eventually it kind of stops and it stabilizes and you're not really pulling much vapor anymore. And so then you shut the system down and you let it, it's called rebound, and you see if the vapor concentrations are coming back up. And sometimes they come back up and then you need to restart it again. And so or sometimes they stay down and they stay down, right? And so we don't really know what the endpoint of this is, but so it's a good question, and I'm not going to lie to you and say it will be done in 6 to 12 months. I do not know. That's the goal of running it right now and the hopes, and then we'll shut it off and then we'll see what happens, and then it'll kick back on if it needs to.
I appreciate that explanation and the honesty about it. I think I moved here at a time when the machine was off, so it was quite jarring when to hear this machine come on at 7:30 in the morning and running almost until 9:30 at night previously. And then given our new work environment where several of us work remotely from home, really affects your day. So thank you for that explanation.
Yeah.
And I'll also add that we will update you as we move forward. So we're not just going to turn off the system and leave. We'll make sure that we close that communications loop with people and let you know what's going on. Okay, other questions? Okay, I guess we can move. Let's go back and just go through the schedule one more time, Dylan.
Okay.
I'm just curious, just for my own, how many people actually live in the condominium complex next door? Most of you? Okay. And did you get the fact sheet or did you just tell one another? Somebody, you did. Okay. All right. So good. I wanted to know because before we start the system, we still have some tweaking to do. And I want to make sure that we have a good way to let you know, okay, we're starting. So you have a good way to tell us it's working or more importantly, it's not working. Okay. All right. We can go through the schedule one more time, Dylan.
Okay, so again, the piping evaluation is going to take place first, and that's just going to be with some temporary equipment and any repairs to the piping, the above ground piping, if there's any leaks, which would I think some people had noted some hissing noises, so that's looking for those noises. And then the trial operation of the system, kind of what we're talking about in the monitoring of the noise, would be early August. That's our anticipated goal right now. With the city of Oakland and myself, my agency, being out there. And if the system is working and is not causing excessive noise, then we would approve the system to run. I think it's important that as we go through this and as it runs, you guys are going to have contact. You have Tracy. And we want to know. So if the system is exceeding at any point in time, it's just too noisy, even if you just think it's too noisy, right? Then I want to know about it. And one of the things that happened is I was not notified. The city of Oakland was notified. City of Oakland needs to be notified because they enforce noise ordinance, but I'm the agency that oversees the operation of this system. And so I really do want to know what's going on. And I don't live very far from you, so I'll probably drive by once in a while and see how it's going. But again, this is a little bit of a trial and error, and we're hoping that it works because we really do need to get this site cleaned up. That's the other thing right there, that the site needs to get cleaned up. You do not want this stuff in your neighborhood in the ground. And again, they were good questions. How can you reach me directly? Tracy will give you my phone number. I actually am somebody you can reach.
Let's go to the what to do with the John. Let's go to how to if you hear a noise complaint. So first of all, I just want to note in the comment there it says it's affecting the quality of our lives, and we get that, and that is our goal, not to have that happen, to have the system work, but your quality of life remains constant, and we are not impacting you. So just wanted to note that. I'm your community point of contact. We thought about this a lot. Dylan and I work on lots and lots of projects together. I actually answer my cell phone and respond to texts almost immediately. So the best way is if it sounds too noisy, it's okay to call me in the evenings. It's okay to call me on weekends. It's okay to call me in the middle of the night if you really have to. So I don't think you do because we're not running it. But if you hear something and it's uncomfortable and you have questions about it, I want you to call me directly or text me and I will get right back to you. I have a direct line to Dylan. I'm happy to give you Dylan's cell phone too, but I'll tell you she's a lot harder to reach than me. So we've done this on I don't know how many projects and it works really, really well. And then I have a direct line to Sydney and Michael at RU, and we'll call them immediately. So and then I'll also always close the communication loop with you. So tell you what we're doing. We might not be able to do something immediately, but I'll tell you the time frame, what's going on, and make sure that you know. And I'll work in whatever kind of communications you want. You want me to email, text, not so hot at it, but happy to do it, or regular phone calls. So your choice, but I'll make sure that we close the loop and let you know what we found, what we did, and make sure that you're comfortable. Questions?
I will
take the number. Yeah. You can call me after this and see if I actually answer if you want.
Yeah, Tracy, you could have my cell phone, but I'm kind of horrible about answering my cell phone. But I do answer things when I know somebody's trying to get a hold of me. So Tracy is a really good line into me. And I do want you to know that I take this really seriously. It's why I shut the system down. And it's why it's not starting back up until some things were rectified, and now we'll see where it goes. And I am hopeful that we can get the system up and running because we want to continue the remediation, but it's not going to be at the expense of it being too loud that any one of us wouldn't want that happening in our backyard.
Okay, so there's a comment here, I think. Well, it looks like a question too. The background noise does mask the noise some of the time, but I was acutely aware when it kicked on and ended. Those are quiet times of the day. So it's nice to hear that you're thinking of shorter hours, maybe 10 to 6 and less on weekends. Or we can hope that it will be purring, purring like a cat. That's our hope. And I have noted here 2 things. One, that we need to get back with all of you once Dylan looks at those hours again and lets you know what you can expect in terms of hours of operation. And then I will be emailing you or whatever way you prefer to communicate to let you know when we're going to start that system up so that everybody's in sync. And I'll do that a couple days before, 5 days before, and then actually 24 hours before as well.
And Kurt, I appreciate that comment because I definitely want to be there when I hear that system start up, because I know what you're talking about. A system starts up, it's noisy, and when it shuts down, it's noisy. So I will definitely be there to witness what it sounds like when it starts up and when it shuts down, because you're right. Those are at times when so we will observe the start and the stop of equipment on a day, and see what that is doing. Okay.
Great, thank you. Yeah, it's not just a the equipment's noisier. I don't know if it is
Yeah.
or not, but it's just
Yeah.
that there's, you know what I'm saying? This is quieter
Yeah,
in
I
general.
do know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that's, Ryan has his hand. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry. So the slides brought up another question to me, which was, I guess I didn't realize that this system just kind of vents the VOCs into the air right here. So I guess I was.
It doesn't vent VOCs. It actually vents clean vapor. So it goes through a whole treatment system. They're inside that compound where there are those sound blankets are carbon vessels, and the vapor comes through those carbon vessels that cleans that before it goes to the atmosphere. And those are very strict rules by Bay Area Air Quality Management District. So it's not venting that stuff, the stuff that's coming straight out of the ground with those chemicals. It's not venting to your air.
Okay. Thanks, Dylan.
That's why we have an air permit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions? Okay. So preferred way of, I know I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, it's the most people we've ever had at a meeting, first of all. So thank you. We appreciate you attending. And we are recording this if anybody wants to watch it that wasn't here. But I'm thinking is the preferred way of communicating with everybody via the emails that we have. And then anybody need a US mail or anything different? No. Okay. Then I will email. I don't know if we have everybody's email, but I'm thinking that you probably talk amongst yourselves and share information. Okay, and if you have any suggestions how we can improve our communications, we're all ears. Okay. All right, then we'll be getting back with you with the hours of operation. We'll take into consideration what you said and see if we can shorten those. And then I'll be letting you know 5 days beforehand when we're actually going to start that system up. And again, 24 hours heads up as well. And there is a note here from Kelsey. I was tied up at work and came in a few minutes late. Oh, perfect. No problem. And we'd love to stay up to date. Absolutely. We will be sending you email updates as we move forward. And I want to say it's just very heartening. I know this is not the greatest circumstances to meet people, but we really appreciate you communicating. And I'll just say I work with Dylan, and she is the most responsive regulator I have. So you can call the city, but Dylan's going to actually listen and change projects to meet community needs. So, all right. Yeah, so Lauren said, thank you, Dylan. And I think everybody would say that. You're very good at
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm hoping that we can get this thing up and going, but we'll keep at it until it works right. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll send out the email link to this YouTube because I'm sure people really want to watch it again. And please call me if you need anything at all. Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks.
Thanks all.
Hey, Donna. Yes. Hi. How are you?